Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I would like to share my final thoughts and opinions on the QVIST Bladeworks variant PE2. You guys thought it was Boker, huh? Well, if you guys saw my unboxing of this knife, you guys know that there's a little bit of a story behind it. I purchased one, it was a little faulty of a unit. Jacob Lundquist is an amazing individual, and he sent me another one, which is extremely generous of him. And yeah, so I just have it in this pouch because I want to keep all my variant PE2 stuff together. So this was actually the model that I first bought. It had these scales on it. It was just the titanium one. That's really just the one that I wanted, but in my time with this specific unit, I enjoyed this knife so much that I actually decided to go ahead and purchase the other scale options. So I got the Natural Jade G10 and the Blue Micarta. I will say, out of the 3 flavors that were available, I will say that the Micarta scales are the highest quality feeling. I know it may sound a little bit weird comparing it to titanium scales like what are on these ones. And if you will, hear me out for a second. So, while the titanium is very beautiful, it is extremely slick. And I've decided that with now having 2 units of this model, I've decided to dedicate one to basic EDC and taking to work and stuff like that, and other more common occasions, and then the fancier one with more delicate titanium scales is going to be for slightly more elevated outings and things like that. Now this does weigh significantly more, and I apologize I don't have a little scale, but take my word for it, the one with either with G10 option or the Micarta feels a lot more reasonable, and the titanium one definitely feels quite weighty for what it is, and that's because of the inset steel liners in there. There is 0 weight relief from the steel liners. They are very thin, and so are the titanium scales, but when put together, there isn't any weight relief in either the titanium or the steel liners, so it does make for a rather weighty handled knife. But regardless, it is still a very wonderful design, and as weird as it looks, I've learned to definitely enjoy this guy for sure. So just for the sake of visuals, we're going to be leaving the titanium one out here, but I just wanted to show you the other stuff that I got for this knife, because I highly recommend it for sure. This knife unfortunately is no longer available, but a variant PE3 is in the works with slightly different alterations to the handle, but the overall silhouette is going to be quite the same. This guy did come around $100, I believe. It was like 110 or something. It was extremely competitive with the pricing, and the G10 and Micarta ones, they floated around between like 80 and 90, so you weren't having to pay that much more for the more premium feeling titanium scales. Let's get into a couple size comparisons here. So let's break out the Spyderco's. This is the PM2. As you can see, significantly larger of a knife overall in both handle and blade. Did I call it the Para 3? No, PM2. This is the Para 3, sorry. The handle length is still a little bit larger with the Para 3, but cutting edge is quite the same with the Para 3. The only difference really is that the Para 3 has a significant amount of belly, while this has just the slightest curve in the blade. Next 2 knives we have for comparison are the Benchmade Osborne 940. Again, significantly larger in every dimension. And then something a little bit more comparable is going to be the bug out. The bug out is actually still significantly longer than the variant PE2. I have handled the mini bug out, and that would probably be the closest to that. So if you guys have a mini bug out, it's along that size. Another one here, the Civivi Elementum. Pretty close, pretty darn close, but the same handle and quite close to the same cutting edge there. Of course, just drastically different handle shape and blade shape for sure. Last but not least is the Demco 8020.5. So a little bit more handle, but the cutting edge is almost exactly the same, and yeah, it really is almost exactly the same. It shares the same sweep and everything. So there's that. I will say that in comparison to all the knives that I've compared it to, it is most definitely the thinnest behind the edge. This blade material is 14C28N. It is a wonderful mid-grade or higher end of the budget spectrum of steels, and it's wonderful to work with. I actually have the same edge on both of my variant PE2s. I went up to a 600 grit and then polished on some leather straps to 0.5 microns. I think it's a great spot to have it. It's not super high polished, but it's not too coarse either. It's definitely in the middle, just as the quality of steel that it is. So it's definitely a good, at least for me, I think that's a good spot to keep it when it comes to what grits to use when sharpening this thing. The angle that this, well, both of these were actually at was, I believe, 20 degrees each side, and it was very consistent actually, which makes me very happy because I have knives in my collection, again, that are like 3-4 times this much or what this thing costs, and even their edges have a little bit of wave or just inconsistencies in it, which is actually quite unfortunate. You know, when you're spending that much money, you want to have like the most amount of quality overall, fit and finish. There's the fitment, but the edge and the quality of it would definitely be the finishing of it. So what is a knife if you can't cut with it? You know, it's literally just a fucking toy at that point. It's pocket jewelry, whatever you want to consider it as. But at the end of the day, these are just tools. And while there are some very well appreciated enthusiast elements of this design, I will say that this is something that I would actually recommend gifting to somebody who has a little bit of experience with some knives and is comfortable with reverse flicking, because I would say that the reverse flick on this is the best way to open this. You can do a reverse flick as I demonstrated before. You can also do thumb flick with a little bit of practice. See, yeah, this is on ball bearings and ceramic detent ball. It also has a little front flipper. The jimping, it is not sharp, but it does have this little detached tab there for the front flip. I wish it was a little bit sharper. I wish the jimping was a little bit finer, but with a little bit of practice, you can get it. But it's definitely not the preferred way to open this, which is unfortunate because it seems like this whole knife was designed around a front flipper and sway back aesthetic. So, but I think it actually accomplished being a better middle finger flicker than anything else. It's extremely easy to take apart and clean out. Very simple design for the most part. It has these two little standoffs back here. They are steel, all steel hardware, bent polished steel clip. It works very well. It is deep carry for sure, in and out of the pocket extremely easily. I wear Dickies and jeans a lot, so thicker and thinner material does rather well. I did try these in some slacks, and going back to the whole difference in weight, this will bring down your slacks a little bit. It will show some some sag in the pocket that it is, dedicated to. You're not gonna want to have anything else in your pocket if you have this thing in there, because it's gonna be a little weighty looking. I definitely wish that, there was some weight relieving on those steel liners, because that would have definitely helped for sure. But it's something that could be an aftermarket modification on, whoever's willing to drill holes in their knife. So it's very steel liners should be very easy to make some holes in there to get some decent weight relief. Perfectly centered. It came perfectly centered, this unit. The little pivot up here, it's a nice little decorative pivot, nothing too crazy, but it's just it has just enough of something a little bit different to where it just doesn't look like blah, it's just meh. So it does stand out, looks nice. Definitely has a different finish than the titanium scales. I believe these are stone washed. They could be bead blast, but there are a lot of different inconsistencies in the finish to make me think that it is actually just a really, really refined stone wash, which it's cool, I'm okay with. I have gotten plenty of little scuffs and scratches on this thing already, which is unfortunate because the whole point of a stone wash is to hide those for as long as possible, and the stone wash was just so refined that it doesn't really, it defeats the purpose at a certain point. The blade, extremely well finished. The hole, it's not sharp, it's actually very well chamfered there in the hole, and it has just enough bite to where it actually, you're actually able to, use it. But it's not like other ones where it'll catch on the skin of your fingers. You actually have to like push your finger in there and then get it out. This is the lockup on it right here. It is perfect. It hasn't moved. There is no stick. There is no rock. There's nothing going on with this. This specific unit is what I'm assuming would be the perfect example, because, well, Jacob sent this to me. I'm sure he inspected it himself, and this thing is quite wonderful. I have since taken it apart probably 3 times to clean it and just do my basic maintenance. I love taking apart my knives, and I love learning about them and different designs and how things fit together and stuff like that. So as a user and as a consumer, just like the rest of you, I would say that this was a purchase that was worth it. So definitely keep a lookout for the other models in his lineup. Right now he has some slip joints they're like mini slip joints. I would participate in that, but I am not a slip joint person, never really cared for it. The closest thing I will ever come to a slip joint is going to be a lockback, and that's pretty much the part of my collection that is just lockbacks is just my Native 5s, Spyderco Native 5s. I have 3 of them now. That's how much I love that knife. And yeah, I won't go any less fidgety than that. Yes, a lockback can be fidgety a little bit, but I think a slip joint is just while there can be some enthusiast elements added to the quality and the super tight tolerances that are able to be accomplished nowadays with amazing designs in CNC, personally I don't believe that it would be something for me. If somehow he were to have sent me one so I could check out and then pass it along to another reviewer, that would have been really cool, and I'd probably be able to speak a whole lot better about it. But chances are it probably wouldn't have still been for me, so that's okay. It looks really cool. It looks exactly the same as this. It's just shrunken down. It does not have a pocket clip. It's called the Vanish, if I didn't mention the name of that before. I believe it might still be available, but this specific one isn't. I have seen a little rendering of what the variant PE3 will be looking like, and I'm probably gonna get that because it looks pretty darn cool. The it's actually going to be a frame lock, and hopefully he sticks with that idea because that'd be pretty cool. The frame lock, the lock itself is part of the scale, and the way that it's cut out, it just looks really cool. And I think that if I enjoy this knife so much, I'm definitely going to get a little bit more enjoyment out of that one too, just because it's seems like it's a design that works for sure. So again, very comfortable. It is weird looking, but it works. Worth it to me, and I highly recommend it for sure. So if you for any chance see that, if you ever get a chance to pick this up or get in on, you know, the PE3, I would say go ahead and just go for it. Amazing quality fit and finish. The quality of his shoot, it's escaping me right now. Just the way that he is with people, he seems like a really genuine guy, and I like it. He's for enthusiasts, and it's his life. So designing and, you know, doing things like that, and he's brought his work to an industry that he can go really far in for sure. He does make custom versions of this, and he did make a post not too long ago about why he doesn't really do customs too often anymore. It's because he's a normal guy. He has a normal job. I'm sure he works a crap ton of hours to support his rather large family, and this is really just a hobby for him. But still, I'm very thankful to be able to experience this wonderful design by an amazing individual. And that's really all I have to say. There weren't really many complaints. Nothing about the design, really. I love it. The only thing was, you know, maybe about the jimping on the flipper up here. I would have preferred that it was a little finer, a little sharper. That would have been nice, but that is really just up to if it's a user error or whatnot, because you can definitely get used to it. The access to the lock bar there, it's a thin spot for sure, but for the one that he sent to me, you don't have to put much pressure on it to have it go, you know, past the detent and drop. The blade is extremely light, so it's not going to be super droppy, but eventually it'll get to that point. This is my older one, and I only had it for maybe like 2-3 weeks more than the one that he sent me. So this one's going to be a little bit more drop sheddy. It's definitely worn in more for sure. But yeah, there really isn't much that I would change about this. That's it. Thank you guys for watching, and hope you like this video. Like and subscribe, I definitely appreciate it. And I will be linking down Jacob Lundquist's QVIST Blade Works website down in the description. Thank you.